Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome to show number 2 tonight here. Tonight in our second spot, we're going to be talking about club DJs, some things to get started, some tips and such for DJs who are wanting to get started in a club. Nick Hahn's going to be joining us. He was on just a couple of minutes ago and he had an internet crash. So we're hoping that Nick will be back here. Jump in when you can. That his internet didn't completely die on us. So we're broadcasting tonight out to a variety of different channels. I'm going to put the link in. The Facebook, there's a lot of Facebook ones going on out there. Thank you for joining us if you're joining us on Facebook. But if you would like to follow the YouTube link that should be sent up right now, you know what? It's not going to go because I probably have to restart that. Let's just restart. For those of you who haven't been following us, we are utilizing a new system that is connecting us through multiple different places. We're streaming out to Facebook, to YouTube, in 7 different spots for tonight's show. So when this connects and such, there we go. It should be popped out to the YouTube channels and the Facebook channels, and then you can just click that link and you'll jump in and join us. While we're waiting for Nick, we'll kind of go through a couple of things. We got some a little bit of house cleaning here to do. First off, this is our first week of our full gamut of shows. So tonight we had our PBN TV, our photo booth news TV first show tonight. We just finished that with Brandon Heverla. When you want to find those, you go to pbntv.com, pbntv.com/live. That takes you out to the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. And now, of course, tonight we've got Nick next, and then we've got Dan. Nick's coming back here for us. So, Nick, you're not on with me yet, as far as you're here, but you're not over here with me yet. So just hang on there. As soon as you get your video and such ready to go,
channels and Facebook channels.
I will bring you over. Bring you over for that as he's getting that. Tomorrow night, we've got the return of Ben Stowe. Tuesday night with Ben Stowe. We'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, the topic is going to be Do Watts Matter with your DJ speakers. We're going to dig into that one. I thought we did this video a long time ago. We've talked Watts numerous times, but tomorrow night we're going to talk about Do Watts Matter with your speakers, because I saw that 5 times here in the last couple of days. And then Brian and I are going to be, we had Brian and Red and I, then Tuesday night. Wednesday, we're going to come back with another PBN TV show talking about some of the gear for photo booth operators at 9 o'clock Eastern. Then 10 o'clock Eastern, Dave and Jer are back. They're going to be doing their wedding chat. They're going to be starting that up Wednesday night here on DJNTV. So we are going to have a lot of stuff. And then, of course, you've got Bill Herman and Kilma and Randy Bartlett and Mike and Joe. We got a lot of cool stuff coming to you this week. So, Nick, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Okay, I'm going to bring you up. There you are, my friend. You are with me now.
All right, cool.
Ooh, we got a squeal in the back. There we go. Okay. I think we are good. So tonight we're going to talk about getting into the club, some things that younger guys or the people who are wanting to get into that should know before making the dive or making the jump into that. Nick, you've been in that kind of club world for a couple of years now.
Yeah, just a couple, since about 2000. A DJ by the name of DJ Breaks and another one by the name of Rooney G, which I'm sure a lot of Expo attendees and Mobile Beat guys all remember, took me under their wing and kind of showed me the ropes when it comes to being club DJ. And then a guy by the name of Steve McClure, also known as Monk from Rabbit in the Moon, which is a seminal 90s, early 2000s electronic act, basically completed my education. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Nice. So let's just kind of dive into it. Some of the tips and things that people getting into the club should know about before making the jump.
Well, first of all, I'm going to assume that we're talking to DJs who've been living in the town that they're living in for a while. If you're new to a town and you haven't, you need to get out. You need to find out what venues are available for dancing in general. If we're talking strictly bars, pretty much anything will work. But I don't think you're going to get a lot of people to come out to a Mr. Gaddy's on a Tuesday night. So don't try to go too.
I promise you're not.
Don't just settle for a location if you're trying to do a night. So anyway, if you're local, you should already know the spots. You should definitely be involved with local DJ groups, whether it's something like the ADJ. Most people would say, oh, well, that's only mobile, but no, it's actually, you're going to meet some of the club guys in there. In fact, Tampa has a lot of club guys that actually attend the chapter meetings, people like Chris Craze and stuff like that over there, because a lot of mobile DJs are also club DJs and vice versa. So make sure you're joining the Facebook groups. And then also, this is not part of the 10. This is just a quick little summary. Start making friends with these DJs. One of the things that's going on in Orlando right now is there's this one guy that's coming over from Tampa, and he's trying to steal all these people's gigs. And people have to eat, and I don't expect you to not go after a gig because a guy's already working there. But club gigs open up all the time. You don't have to try to take them and undercut them from someone. And to do so gives you a bad reputation within that market very, very quickly and can stall you out a lot faster. So trying to work with other guys, knowing your place and making sure that, show up at a club early and support your local DJ friends. Always tell them, hey, if you need a cover, I'm willing to cover. If you're not at a point where you're ready to cover yet, you should be hanging out with them and letting them mentor you, not annoying them, not asking them questions. You need to follow their lead. You need to be quiet. You need to be there early in the evening and understand what it is they're doing. And, sometimes you can they'll let you play early when nobody's there. Sure. They're going to give you tips on, building the night, because you're not going to walk into a club at 9 o'clock and start playing bangers. And if you are, you're already doing it wrong. So anyway, the top 10 that I put together that you really need to have dialed in when you're beginning out as a club DJ is you need to know your music. You need to know your music really well. And you need to know what type of DJ you're going to be. And if you're going to be a club DJ, I highly suggest picking some music that you enjoy. Don't be a country DJ if you don't like country music, because you're going to hate it really quickly. Even though country clubs play a variety of music, you're not going to like it, and you're probably not going to like the request you're getting, and you're going to get burnout really quick. So that's important. And once you've figured out what type of music you're going to be primarily spinning, then you need to start your music management. So this first one, getting your tracks together, signing up for record pools like Promo Only, shameless plug, X-Mix, ERG, whatever you're signing up for. Those are great tools. They should be the bulk of your library. But what you really need to do is you need to think about the age group that's coming to your club. If you're an 18 to 22-year-old demographic at your nightclub, or 22 to 26, I always recommend looking back about 7 or 8 years from that particular year. So 2019, I would be looking at, 2011, 2012 charting songs, and trying to pick a few of those songs out of there from their high school days that these kids, when they're in junior high, used to do sing-alongs, to throw those in at opportune moments throughout the night and pepper those in. I try to pick songs that aren't beat to death, maybe like a Rare Gem, where that way people, they're not like, oh yeah, I've heard It's Tricky by Run DMC 1,000. Of course you've heard it 1,000 times, but you might not have heard, something else quite as much. Maybe it's not been beaten to death by your local radio station or the other local club DJs.
Sure.
So having those constantly rotating that kind of stuff out of your crates is really important too. Not getting stuck in using the same music week after week, especially doing the same mixes. If somebody can set their watch to what it is that you're playing, if they go, oh, it's 11:30 because he's about to play 21 Savage, that's not a good look for you. And that's actually the beginning stages of you leaving that club. You need to always kind of keep it fresh. And that's why your music management is so important. A lot of people are like, oh, I got to have this remix. Everybody else has this remix. Perhaps you should think about also supplementing your DJ career with learning a little bit of production and doing some of your own mixes and your own remixes to kind of keep your sets unique to you. Because if you go to one of these bootleg sites and you download a song, this remix, and you're like, I love this remix. Yeah, well, so do 200,000 other DJs everywhere else you're playing it. So it's kind of hard to set yourself apart when you're playing the same top 40 songs or you're playing the same, urban set that everybody else is. So keep that in mind. Your music management is the most important thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you can scratch. I'm sure there's a lot of DJs who are going to see this and be like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody ever left a nightclub and said, man, I wish that DJ scratched more. So focus more on programming. Okay. Other DJs care. It's awesome. I love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Guy I know that I've had some limited interaction with last night placed third in the DMCs, Brandon Ragoza, and he's extremely talented and awesome to watch. But for the most part, what he does is a very niche market, and that's not what you're being paid at the nightclub to do. It's cool for a little flair, but having your music down is even more important. So,
yeah.
Second thing, almost as important, backup gear. This little USB cable for your Serato box, a speaker cable for a monitor at the club, an 1/8-inch aux cord for plugging in your phone for backup mixes. A backup pair of headphones. Yep, just these rinky-dinky little things might save you as long as you have one of these. Now, sometimes you might be lucky and you might find a mixer that has an 1/8 inch, but if you don't have one of these in your bag, or at least 3 or 4 of them in your bag, you're messing up already. I also recommend having an extra XLR on hand, and then a couple sets of RCAs. First of all, you may never need them, but if you're working at a club that has several rooms, you're going to be able to help out some of your DJ buddies, maybe somebody back down the street. My friend Cody Jared the other night had an issue where he needed some RCAs and just couldn't get them. If you've got the money, it wouldn't hurt to have a backup charger for your laptop in your car, if not in your bag. If you're super lucky like me, I carry 2 laptops with me always.
Yeah.
So, that brings me to my next point. Backup mixes. I don't know if y'all remember what these are, but these are called CDs. And they make them, and you can actually you can put your own music on them as well. So I actually have about 10 backup classic CDs in my DJ bag. Mm-hmm. They're all MP3s, but all the media players will play off of MP3s now. So, but it's got tons of stuff. So if I had to play off those discs because everything went down, I could do it. Also, backup thumb drives. You never know when you're going to have to. Your thumb drive may go down. They're super cheap. You can have 10 of these in your bag that have the exact same thing. And then always carry a backup hard drive with you as well, because storage is ridiculously cheap nowadays. There's no reason for you not to be prepared. And the most important one and the easiest one is your phone. You should always have backup mixes on your phone. I recommend having them for different parts of the night. And I feel like the night usually is broken up into 3 spots. Okay. You've got the early part of the evening where you're setting the tone. You've got the middle part of the evening where you're starting to build the crowd. There's beginning to be a rapport. You're seeing what they're responding to. They kind of get a vibe for what you're playing. So the requests that are going to come in are going to reflect that. So making sure that you have a mix on the off chance that your gear goes down on your phone during that time. When I say your gear, it's usually going to be your computer. If your mixer goes down, I don't know what you're going to do unless you have a backup controller with you, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
If you can do that. But having 15 to 30 minute mixes on there will save you. It's really good for you to have those, especially for the early part of the night, because sometimes you might be at the club for an hour before anybody shows up. And there's no reason for you to sit there and burn through all your songs. A lot of DJs practice during that time. They'll do some little routines and everything, and that's cool. Some people take that opportunity to get to know some of their regulars that are coming in earlier, chat with the bartenders, door staff, whatever it is. And that kind of takes me to my next point, which was talk to the staff at the early part of the night. And the reason you talk to the staff early part of the night is the first people who are going to complain about you to the manager is your staff.
Yep.
It's not going to be the crowd. It's going to be your staff. So if your staff doesn't make good money, or they didn't make the money that they normally make on a night, they might complain about the music. They might complain, oh, the DJ did this, the DJ did that. Befriending those folks and also taking the time to ask them, hey, it's early in the night. You got some requests that you would like me to play tonight?
Yep.
It goes a long way. And it's authentic too. I mean, if you're not that type of person, then don't bother. If you're not if you're not truly being friendly and you really want the night to work, because if the bartenders are doing their job, they make your job easier. If you're doing your job, you're making the bartender's job easier. So it's cyclical.
Yeah, it works together. Yeah.
And helping each other out, it's a big deal. And they will appreciate it. They definitely will appreciate it. And if your bartenders look like they're having fun and they're dancing to the music that they want to hear, and believe me, their music taste will reflect what it is that you're supposed to be playing. Your bartender is not going to ask you to play Five Finger Death Punch at an urban club. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they know better than that.
So anyway, always make sure that you're, talking to the staff before and after the event. If they got always ask for their feedback. People like to criticize. So, and they like to give constructive feedback. And if they're thinking of something that would potentially make the night better, it's definitely something you should hear. And a lot of times they have some great requests anyway. The next thing that I would say, and there's a few things here that require absolutely no skill. They don't require any money, and they immediately set you apart from every other DJ. Accountability and dependability. Don't be on time. Never be on time. Be early. Always be early to the club. The last thing the manager wants to worry about is where is the DJ. If it's 15 minutes before opening and they haven't seen you set up and sound checked already, they're getting a little nervous.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. You want to make them feel comfortable. So if your shift starts at 9 o'clock, be there at 8:30. Get there, get set up, settle in, walk around, relax. Get your bearings, make everybody else feel comfortable by knowing that you showed up and you were ready and you've sound checked everything. And open communication with the manager. If you're going to have somebody come in and cover for you, they need to, first of all, that has to be approved first. Don't just bring in any random, make sure that the manager or the promoter is okay with it. And then in the same vein, make sure that that person, as well as yourself, is also dressed for the spot. You know what I mean? A lot of DJs will say, oh, you know, don't ever wear shorts to the club. Well, I mean, I never did. I'm not very comfortable because I have chicken legs. But some guys do wear shorts to the club. I just don't know. I've seen people get blasted for it. I've seen people not get blasted for it. Find out what the dress code is and should be. Follow it, adhere to it. And when I say dress code, I mean, if you have to show up at a club DJing in a suit and tie, that might not be the kind of gig that I would go for, but maybe it is for you. But for the most part, I'm talking about, like, what do you expect from us? You know, like, you want us to look like the patrons, or do you want us to look a little nicer? Whatever it is, find that out and then relay it to your covers as well. 6, I would definitely say, another huge one, and this one is my second gig ever. I learned this the hard way. Make sure you pace yourself throughout the night. Do not play all of your big songs. I know it's easy. I know it's easy to think, oh, I should play this. This song's so hot right now. Yeah, it is, but it's 11 o'clock. And this is not anywhere near as busy as it's going to be. And in my personal opinion, you look like a giant amateur playing the same song a second time in the night if the crowd is not demanding it. Now, you can play the same song twice in one night. I've done it. And I hate doing it. And the only reason I will do it is because the crowd just demands it. You know what I mean? They have to have it that second time. And that's pretty common with a lot of new hip hop hits over the last 15, 20 years. But man, I hate it. I can't stand playing the same song twice. But if you have to do it, then you do it. But if you're playing all your bangers early in the evening, you're going to be left with all these B tracks at the end of the night, and it makes your job so difficult. And you can feel the dance floor. There's no energy. It's sludgy. People are moving away, and it'll make you wish you hadn't shown up for work. Yep. In all honesty, so make sure you're. You know, one of the things that Rooney and Bray always kind of encouraged me to do, they'd say, you know, especially when you're doing an open format, they say, try to pick 3 songs of a particular genre, play those three songs. And if they're working, you know, then switch it up to another thing after those 3. If it's not working, then be able to, you know, should be able to dip out of that song and go into something else. It needs to make sense. It can't just be totally abrupt. And all of that will come with time. You're going to learn how patrons react to certain things. And which reminds me, when I first started doing this, I used to turn my nose up at mobile DJs. And I used to be kind of an elitist. I'm like, I'm a club DJ. I don't do weddings and blah, blah, blah. Well, wedding DJ is infinitely harder. It's so much harder because you've never had this crowd before.
Yep.
Ever. Every crowd is a brand new crowd. You've never had it. At a nightclub, if you're lucky, especially if you have a residency, you have regulars over and over. You can start figuring out, okay, well, I know they love this, and I know they love that. Yep. I'm going to play this. And, you know, so it makes things a lot easier. So, you know, I see a lot of club DJs that said they don't take requests. Well, I don't understand that. But anyway, so I feel like a wedding DJ who's going to dip into the club business is probably, I mean, Josh Wink, Roger Sanchez. Like, these are some of the biggest names in DJ history, and they all started out. In fact, Josh Wink started out as working for Bobby Morgenstein back in the day. And he wrote one of the biggest electronic music songs of all time, Higher State of Consciousness, and he tours all over the world still. Roger Sanchez, huge producer, DJ, started off as a wedding DJ in New York. So anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. Just make sure that you're not burning through all of your big songs early in the night. Sprinkle them throughout. If you can play one big song, then play 2. If you can eke out as many bangers as you can in between your bangers. If you start to see the crowd energy dipping, you should be able to tell. then pull something out. My friend Matt Wisdom calls them bones, throwing the crowd a bone.
Yep.
And yeah, you want to throw them a bone every once in a while, but you don't want to just keep throwing them bones because eventually you're going to run out. And that's why the power mixing, a lot of people will, play these songs for, a verse and a chorus and out, verse, chorus out, verse, chorus out, verse, chorus out. Man, you really need to know your library to be able to do that and to do it well. So for a beginner DJ,
that would be tough.
Slow your roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you can't make it to a second chorus, then get out. But just because Joe Blow down the street is mixing 100 miles an hour doesn't mean that that's what everybody wants. A lot of times people get frustrated because you cut the song before their favorite part came on. And so reading body language is really important there. And that's why, not getting rid of all your heavy songs early in the night will help you out. So number 7, rotating the dance floor. Most DJs think that at a nightclub, your job is to make people dance.
Fill that dance floor. Yep.
Yeah. That's not your job. Your job is to make people drink. Your job is to keep people in the nightclub and going to the bar and coming away from the bar so the people who aren't at the bar can get another cocktail. That's your real job. If you don't do that job, I don't care how good your dance floor is. If your bar's not making money, you will get replaced.
You're not there.
So what I recommend to do, first of all, this is why I love video. Video allows you, if you're a video DJ, sorry, I keep reading some of these comments every once in a while out of the corner. If you're doing video DJing early in the night, you can keep more people at the club or around your bar because they're staring at the screens before people start dancing.
Yep.
And I love that. It's a really easy way to make your night a little bit more engaging, especially if you've taken the time to get some really cool music videos or visuals or done some really interesting stuff with some of the effects.
And where could we find videos if we were wanting? I mean, I wonder if there's a spot that has those.
Promo only has videos, but so does it. VJ Pro has a really good selection of videos. Obviously, we have an amazing selection. Second largest library in the world the last time we checked, next to Viacom. But VJ Pro has a very great selection. There's a couple of other legal avenues for you to get music videos. But keep in mind, you don't have to use music videos. You can use, in fact, if you have a photographer at the club, be really cool if you got pictures from last week and ran those on loop for people to watch. People love that. We used to do that filthy all the time, and it's really good way to get people engaged watching it. It also helps with your branding if you're throwing the night in particular, like we were. Brian and Monk did a really good job making sure that people were constantly inundated with our brand through the visuals and through the photographs and everything. But anyway, rotating your dance floor, you need to be paying attention to your bar. You're not just watching your dancers. You also need to be watching your bartenders. If your bartenders are on the phone, maybe you need to clear pockets of the dance floor. Don't clear the dance floor. When people say clear the dance floor, it's like, bro, you should not be trying to clear the dance floor. You should be trying to spot empty it, like this little group over here that you noticed has been real heavy into pop, but they're really light on the hip hop. But you see them not drinking. Maybe you play a couple of hip hop songs and shuffle them over to the bar so they can grab a cocktail. So you need to be watching. People tend to stay in specific areas of the club throughout the evening. You don't see the same person in 50 different spots hanging out in those spots for long periods of time. So you got your social butterflies. But ultimately, most people are kind of there. Also, that brings up another thing. Pay attention to who's there. Meet your regulars.
Yes,
meet them. Get to know them. Befriend them. Ask them specifically for requests. Ask them to bring people. If they start to come to the club, every once in a while, give them a guest pass to get in for them and a friend. Start building I'm going to say this. Start building a tribe. start building a group of folks who come out and support your night and you support you. That's what made our night in Tampa so great. I mean, Stephen and Brian did a really good job of marketing, but we had an amazing staff who made amazing friends, and we had amazing regulars. I mean, some of these regulars I invited to my wedding. Some of these people I still talk to this day.
Wow.
You know, on the phone just to check in on them, and vice versa. So it's important to bring those people on board, because those people are going to follow you to the next spot. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
And that's always a good thing for you as a DJ. And that brings me to the next one, opening Pandora's box. And Pandora's box can be several different things. Requests. I like to take requests, but I also like to train people, especially you can do it with club DJing a little bit easier than you can with a wedding, because you're going to see people the next week. So when people come up and they ask me for a song I don't have, I typically say, I don't have that song, but I'll look it up. And if it's cool, I'll have it next week. I promise.
Sure.
And then I follow through with that promise. I do look up the song. I go and check it out. If I didn't like it and they come back and they ask me the next week, I'm very honest with them. I say, hey, I didn't think it was going to fit the night, but feel free to release some other requests. And if I can get to them, I will. And if not, I'll check them out. And once you've gotten people trusting you to do that, a lot of times they'll just come up, write the request, and leave you alone. They know you're going to play it, they know you're going to go look for it. And you're not going to have that physical interaction. If you've got a lighting guy or sound engineer in the booth with you, you can have them run interference for you. But for the most part, I do like to talk to people about the request. And when you do play the request, understand that there are certain things that you just can't go back from. Once you start playing Latin music, you're playing Latin music. You know what I'm saying? Like, the floodgates are open for the rest of the night. Once you start playing hip hop or country, those requests are going to come in for the rest of the night. So you need to be prepared for that. So if you're not prepared, be ready to tell people why you're not going to play that music. So that's why I say it's Pandora's box. You're going to start you're going to do that. You're going to speak to more people than you want to if you're not prepared to continue at least sprinkling in some of the similar sounding music, such as Latin.
Yeah, especially, if it goes over well.
Another one that don't ever let somebody hand you their phone and you plug it in to your 1/8 inch and play a song from your phone, because you are training those people to ask DJs everywhere to do that. And if you're doing that as a DJ, you're taking a huge risk, and you shouldn't do it. That being said, I've done it before, but it was for a tip. And that's the next Pandora's box. So if you start taking tips, and I'm not talking about $1, I'm talking about, sorry, Rincon just asked me if a hot dog was a sandwich. And I love these comments. So anyway, if you start taking requests for tips, people are going to think they can pay you $100 to play any song. And sometimes that's a dangerous thing. And sometimes you should never clear your dance floor just for $100 tip. That's a dumb thing to do, and it could get you fired real quick.
Yep.
And you're gonna upset a lot of people. People are there to have a good time, and that's your job to make sure they have a good time, not just to pick up an extra $100. So remember, all the things that you do, they could lead into something else, good or bad. So number 9. Drinking, drugs, whatever it is that you do, just understand, I've definitely had cocktails while I've been DJing. I've gotten in the same zone as my crowd. I don't recommend it. It's not something that you should be doing on a regular basis. If you can do it, great, but it also can lead to a lot of problems. Keep in mind, you got to drive home.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? First of all. Second of all, you don't want to get so sloppy that you start making mistakes because you're drunk or high or whatever it is that you're on. And it's just it's not real professional look for you. So if you're going to have a couple cocktails, try to keep it to a minimum. If you're just going to be that party DJ, I hope you got a lighting guy who knows how to cover your ass. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
Because chances are he probably will a couple times. You're not going to stay at a club for a very long time if you just get wasted all the time. It's just not going to happen. So if you got this ridiculous bar tab, get a shot, give it to one of your regulars. You know what I'm saying? Share the love, but don't think that you have to take every shot. And a lot of your regulars and people are going to come up and offer you drinks, and you can thank them profusely. You can and give them to someone else, or you can ask them for another time or something. But do yourself a favor. Try to stay relatively sober during your gigs. You'll be glad that you did.
Yeah.
And then number 10, end of the night. 2 things for the end of the night. Pick a fun song for the end of the night, the last song. One thing that I always like to do, and I don't mind giving this tip out because I think DJs should do it. I think it's awesome when people do it. Just tell folks, this is the last song, and then play your last song, and then they're going to chant, but it's not the last song. They're going to chant one more song, whatever. And then all the lights should be on by now. You know, your manager's in on this. Your bar staff should already know this. Then play them another song. But play a fun song that they're going to remember, that they're going to walk out singing. Like, I loved Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sure.
And it's a fun song. It's not a dancing song. It's an air guitar. We're going to be silly and sing. It leaves people on a high note walking out of the club. Another one I would run, I don't know if you remember, but the Muppet Show did a song called Phenomena.
Yep.
Phenomena. Dun, 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 Phenomena. So I would play that video, and people would walk out singing, and I would get these messages on Facebook. People, man, I hate you. I woke up this morning singing Phenomena.
It was in my head.
I think that's important. I think you should be able to do that. You want people to remember. I remember the club DJs when I first was going to this after hours place in Louisiana when I was in the Army. This guy always used to close with Happy Trails by Van Halen, always. And I loved it. It was nice. It was comforting. It made me feel good. So, you know, there's a bunch of different things. I used to close with R. Kelly's remix to Ignition, but I don't do it obviously because of everything now. But it was perfect because he would say, it started off and said, they already thought I would play the last song, and then I would hit play and it'd go, now normally I don't do this, but and everybody would scream, and it was awesome. So leaving them on a high note is very important. After you've left them on a high note, immediately clean your DJ booth. Don't leave it a mess for the next guy. Don't leave your beer bottles, your cigarette butts, or your trash, or wherever it is, your empty Red Bull cans, whatever it is, clean it up. Take care of the gear. Take care of the space. There are other people who have to use it. And if you don't, the next person who comes in after you is going to complain to management. And you never want people complaining. Then after you've done that, you've gotten paid and you've talked to everybody and you figured out how their night went, what could have gone better, what did work, and it's time to head to the car, grab somebody to go to the car with you. Don't walk to your car by yourself. No need to get held up. No need to have your laptop stolen. No need to get mugged. No need to get robbed. No need to get harassed. No need to have some drunk person who's been waiting outside to give the DJ a piece of their mind because they didn't play the Taylor Swift request. You know, like you need to take a security guard with you. You're not being a punk. You're being smart.
Yeah.
Take the security guard guy with you. Drop him off back at the front. Okay. You know, and same thing goes for you if you're a bartender or cocktail waitress or whatever it is you're doing. You shouldn't be walking your car at the end of the night, not with all that money and not with all that gear. So be safe because you want to be there again the next week. So anyway, that's 10.
Yes.
I got 10,000 more things that I could say, but I don't think anybody wants. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
There's one spot, and I'm going to take you right back to the very, very first one because I want you to elaborate a little bit more, and we'll wrap things up. You were saying you started us off with knowing your music, and how for DJs who are wanting to get into this and to know their music, do they need to be able to listening to the music and knowing it from every nuance of the song, or just knowing about what songs are hot, what would you make a recommendation for someone who is wanting to get into that and they know the things that have been on top 40 radio type of thing, but how much more do they have to know the music than what they hear on the radio?
Well, in my opinion, first of all, if you're a DJ and you don't love music, do us all a favor. There's enough of us out there looking for work. Stop. Okay.
Stay home.
So you should just be, you need to know your charts. You need to know what your hot. If you're an open format DJ, you definitely need to know what's charting on mainstream radio, the top 20 of mainstream radio, dance radio, definitely urban radio, without a doubt. You can't have an open format night without that. But you're also going to need to go back. If you're young, if you're like 21, 22 right now, and you didn't grow up in the 80s and the 90s, maybe you start going back and looking some of those cuts that other DJs are playing. I definitely recommend going out and a lot of DJs joke about other DJs Shazamming, but I Shazam all the time. I want to know, dude, that's the highest compliment. The only real reason that I like to DJ ever was never about making anybody dance. It was about them asking me, what's that record you got? And I'll be like, oh, bro, it's this one right here. And like, you got to go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a music promoter since day one. So, if a DJ is Shazamming your set, that means you're doing good, and that shouldn't be taboo. You shouldn't be playing that DJ's exact same set. But if the DJ's playing, like It's Tricky is a very popular
certainly
throwback for DJs to play. You've never heard it before, and you see the crowd really gets into it. What's wrong with you adding that to your crate? Nothing's
certainly,
wrong with
yeah.
that. Talk to older DJs too, man. I love getting into group discussions. Brian Red always puts up some really awesome posts, and he's like, hey, let's hear it for what's your favorite new wave song or whatever. And then all these DJs come out of nowhere and they just start listing all this stuff. And I'm just like steady on Spotify going, what's that? I've never heard that. And there's not a DJ alive. I work with two of the most knowledgeable programmers you could possibly work with. Not that all of our programmers are very knowledgeable, but Dave Canalti and Eric Dennison, man, they just get me real bugged out with how much music they know that I've never heard, and good, solid music. And in fact, I see my friend Zwane. He just said one of my favorite things to do is talk music with Nick. Zwane's another guy. He's a music lover. He's a DJ. He's a great source for me to find stuff that I've not added to my set. So talking to your DJ buddies, that's why if you love it, you're going to talk to these other folks about it. I think the best thing that you can do is network.
Yeah.
And talking to these, when you're at these shows, bro, seriously, I can't tell you how many manufacturers, we joke about it, but we hear these DJs at the shows all the time. They're always like, they're talking about their speaker systems or their new mixer or whatever. And that's great. I understand it, but man, I rarely hear people sitting around just gushing about particular albums they just bought or a new song. I hear people complaining. I hear a lot of people complaining
Today's
about
music,
Cardi B, but I don't hear a lot of people sharing good music. You should be sharing it. Share what you love, not what you hate. You know what I'm saying? We already know that. So, anyway, I would definitely be talking to other people, going back, doing some Spotify, playlists, do 90s hip hop. If you're not familiar with 90s hip hop, type in 90s hip hop on Spotify. There's a playlist that's got 150 songs on there, and I guarantee you every single one of them is a winner.
Yeah.
And you don't have to play the same Biggie song that everybody else plays or the same 5 that everybody else plays. In fact, try playing one that nobody plays and watch the heads give you props. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do what other people do all the time. I'm not saying you have to be completely and totally unique. Every song has to be some rare B-side, but it's nice to give a little bit of your own flavor, and some of the stuff that you love. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Are you really just, I find it hard to believe that some people just want to play what's what's charting and trending. Like I don't want to be friends with those DJs, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not the type of guy I want to hang out with and talk to. So,
yeah. Talking music and talking shop that way. That's some of the favorite shows when Brian and I do those on Tuesday nights. And he's when he's on a roll, it's a fun ride.
Yeah, great taste in music, Brian. Brian Adaddle from American DJs got really good taste in music too. Start talking to more of these DJs and manufacturers about the music. I bet you'll have a better time.
Yeah, I will. Nick, thank you much for your time tonight. Our time just flew by this evening.
Well, thanks for having me, John. I always appreciate it.
Thank you much. Gang, we'll be back in about 15 minutes tonight. Dan Carpenter and I will be back to finish up this evening. You can catch that out at with our YouTube channel. Otherwise, it'll probably pop up on Facebook in just a few minutes. Once again, Nick, thanks for being with me tonight.
Thanks, guys.